Het is voor mij een eer en een genoegen u van harte welkom te heten in dit prestigieuze concertgebouw en in deze mooie stad.
I am very proud to be the mayor of the city where the College of Europe is founded. For the coming months and years, we will try to have a stronger connection, a stronger collaboration with you all. It's therefore that I want to give you my mobile number, 0032 for Belgium. If you call with your old mobile, 475 70 33 79. If you try it, you will see that I don't lie. I wish you welcome.
The fact that the academic year opens under the patronage of Voltaire is simply a brilliant choice. Voltaire is not only the symbol of enlightenment, but also a master of tolerance. It is a remarkable choice that Voltaire is the patron of the new academic year. Tolerance as an ethical value is more than ever in the picture. The slow-growing economy and the hard budget cuts here in European countries have the negative effect that people often project their fears and concerns on those who are different. This leads to polarization and intolerance. Einstein once said that almost all our actions and desires are connected to the other people. We are all part of a greater whole. For me, Voltaire is also, and perhaps especially, the philosopher of free speech. The quote, commonly used, "I do not agree with what you have to say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it," summarize his ideas about free speech.
Voltaire was also a man of real compassion, of deep compassion. And this compassion increased with his successes in the world. If you read his interventions in favor of the colors, Servin, Lally Tollendal, and the others he fought for, you read compassion in every line. He had a real feeling for those who were denied justice, who were tortured and were the victims of the prejudices of the time. It was also out of a deep compassion for the victims of the 1755 Lisbon earthquake that he questioned in his famous poem sur le désastre de Lisbonne of 1756 the presumed fundamental goodness of the divine order. And it was compassion for the poor living conditions of the peasants on his own lands in the Pays de Gex which made him to put a lot of effort and money in improving housing conditions and roads, the construction of a school and a hospital, and the creation of more economic opportunities. So here is a third and final message to you, students of the promotion, from your patron. Whatever heights of career and success you may reach, and certainly we at the college very much hope that you will reach these heights of career and success, never forget about those who are, in one way or the other, the victims of our world. Remain conscientious of the plight and the needs of those who live in the darker zones of our existence. Toutes ces considérations nous font penser, chers étudiants, que Voltaire est bien digne d'être votre patron de promotion. Il sera pour vous, pas seulement durant cette année d'études ici au collège, mais aussi dans vos vies et carrières futures, de prouver que vous êtes aussi digne d'appartenir à cette promotion Voltaire, d'être de vrais Voltairiens. Merci.
During the 60s and the 70s, Europe represented the democratic, prosperous option to the totalitarianism on the other side of the Iron Curtain. after the fall of the Berlin Wall, the goal of achieving the single market and the euro became the benchmark of Europeanism. In the early 2000s, the narrative became somewhat less clear-cut, and Europe was called upon to provide added value. You remember, in the words of Tony Blair, Europe has to deliver. But 15 years later, we have, Madariaga would think, no narrative, no inspiring message to engage Europe with the citizens, but just a clash of discordant voices which use Europe sometimes as a punchbowl and blame it for all their complaints. I believe that Salvador de Madariaga would be an ally in the creation of a new European message. This new narrative would spotlight the achievements made during the past 6 decades in our continent in terms of freedom, justice, progress, and respect for fundamental rights. This new narrative would be inspired by the principles of responsibility and cohesion, of mutual trust and solidarity. All these values and principles go to make up what might be called the European way of life. And it is very important that when we set out to draft new rules of global governance, whether in economic and financial terms or concerning trade, industry, or the environment, we should be able to bring to the fore those principles and values that constitute what we are and how we live, and which have helped strengthen our democracy and which have achieved progress and well-being for our peoples. Sometimes we need somebody coming from other country to tell us. And let me just mention that Brazil's ex-president Lula said quite rightly, in the darkest moments of the financial crisis, that the European Union could not disappear, he said, I quote, because it belongs to the democratic heritage of mankind. So every narrative seeks to combine conviction and passion, as reason and sentiment are two powerful mobilizing forces. But a university professor like Madariaga would not be content with mere theorizing, but would rather make use of narrative as a lever to develop a message about Europe. On occasion, I have asserted that Europe is like the air we breathe. It is there, it is necessary for our existence, but how many of you get up every morning and really think about it, about the air, about its purity, about how much air we need? None of you. Me neither, by the way. What do we do? One deep breath and hope so. That's it. We go for a cup of tea. Well, similarly, Europe is part of the everyday routine of our existence. Even though, according to a latest survey, only 43% of us know what it means to belong to the European Union, and 48% of us are unaware of our rights, the fact is that we are Europeans, albeit without realizing it. And even though we only very rarely perceive the presence and the influence of Europe in our lives. Very soon, ladies and gentlemen, my dear students, we shall have a good opportunity to develop a new European narrative and to spread the word about Europe. I refer to the forthcoming elections to the European Parliament, to be held next May. There is one idea of Madariaga that I often repeat. He said, Europe will not be a reality until it is within the consciousness of its citizens. Those same citizens may be tired. Perhaps they are disheartened by the severe economic crisis we have undergone. Those same citizens feel, sometimes with dismay, the slowness of the Union in taking decisions that will affect their lives. This is all true. But the fact remains that European integration remains the most beautiful utopia of the 21st century. And like all utopias, it is in need of people who can combine farsightedness and ambition to bring it about. And it is not populist or Europhobe attitudes that will create a European edifice. Such attitude can destroy, but they cannot create. In this time, Europe needs responsible citizens who are capable of electing politicians with heads and hearts to face and overcome the challenges facing our continent. And in conclusion, let me just give you one final thought. In the year 2010, Professor Derungs devoted an essay to Salvador de Madariaga, whom he termed an unknown European. Madariaga, our guest tonight, may not have received the popular recognition he warrants, but for those of us who admire his work, who know his dedication and who respect his intellectual insight, today, 35 years after his death, he continues to be a beacon, powerfully illuminating the decisions we must take in difficult times. And someone like this, believe me, deserves the recognition of us all. And that, no more, but not less, is what I have tried in all modesty to convey in this opening session to welcome the Voltaire promotion.
The new generation of Europeans is different from the parents and from the grandparents. There is a new democracy on the rise. We do not see the world in black and white. We see a multiplicity of colors. Political actors of all shapes and sizes, all interconnected, webbed and multi-layered. Our political institutions will need to reflect that sooner rather than later. But we all have had a common purpose. Leave a better Europe for the future generations. Give hope for the people to come after us. However, our generation is losing that hope that helped Europe move forward in the past. The same hope based on common values, tolerance, multiculturalism, and human rights that would have led us to a closer union is now in danger. Notre vision de l'Europe ne doit pas simplement être une vision de récupération, mais aussi de renouveau. Depuis la crise économique, l'Europe a géré le déclin. Mais à présent, nous devons construire une renaissance européenne véritable, une redécouverte de l'Europe qui ne sera pas braquée sur les passés difficiles, mais ouverte sur un futur cosmopolite et riche en diversité. L'Europe doit investir dans la technologie, la recherche, l'emploi, l'éducation. Ceci doit être notre seule et unique direction. Il nous faut défendre un futur politique et social commun, un futur qui en vaille la peine. Voltaire said, God gave us life. It is up to us to give ourselves the gift of living well. We could debate the first part of the phrase, much less the later. We must recognize not only that Europeans share a common destiny, but that is we, European citizens and leaders alike, that must grasp and shape that destiny together. And what better time than now? Thank you.